I need people to understand that they are not failing Jackson. They're trying to forget it exists. This isn't a broken city. This is a memory they want to erase. They don't fix what they plan to replace. You notice that they don't do that. They don't replace what they still believe never deserved to be whole. So what's happening in Jackson isn't neglect. It's structured forgetting. It's engineered rot wearing a bureaucrat's face. And it's a quiet execution by pipeline, paperwork, and privatization. And right now, our memory is our greatest weapon against this. And people don't get it, right? We don't need hope right now. We need refusal. We need coordination. We need to haunt them with evidence. The big thing that's happening here that they hit Jackson with the hardest is the fact that they have a case of narrative mismanagement. They will say Jackson failed because of black governance. I need you to know that. Regardless of what happens, they are trying to talk like that. But the true story is that disinvestment was intentional, sabotage was policy, and survival was never funded. We need a narrative counteroffensive, more than just people on the ground. The story got to change. There needs to be a forensic public timeline that documents everything. Public funds denied, Siemens meters installed, JXN's water imposed without consent, and share that via everywhere. TikTok, radio, church bulletins. Don't rely on mainstream press. Anchor the community's identity in receipts, not shame. They didn't neglect Jackson. They drained it and then blamed the thirst on the people they left behind. But here's the other thing. We need to block the privatization pipeline because Flint died because his water was privatized under emergency. Jackson is being lined up for the same coffin. So the big thing that we need is a local ordinance banning the sale or lease of water systems without public vote. A water defense coalition, churches, co-ops, barbershops, and record every boil notice, every shutoff, every late bill during these unsafe periods because every shutoff is a document, every delay is a receipt. If they won't admit the collapse, we'll file it ourselves, literally. And we also need a People Waters Authority for this situation because I'm going to be honest, the state won't save you, the courts will stall, but your block still breathes. So water stewards on every block. Right, testing water, distributing tanks, logging complaints, fund this, right, this Jackson Water Trust, supported by black churches, HBCUs, artists, and activists, because people don't get it. Jackson's water isn't poison, it's politicized, right? So if we can build, all we need to do is build a system that can't sell. That's all it is. Flint's lawsuits, right, because people always say, like, a lawsuit, we filing a lawsuit. You can call for federal help, but don't wait for it. You can call for federal help all you want. But just don't wait for it because Flint's lawsuits helped years later. Jackson can't hold his breath that long. So we need to file the lawsuits against Simon, JXN Water, the state, and host a summit, right? A Jackson Survival Summit with black engineers, water scientists, legal teams, faith leaders. This is not a protest. This is not a protest. You cannot out-protest this issue. We need a survival council. It is genuinely that bad. And also, the shame. Sometimes black people hug shame. We hug shame. But we need to nationalize this case. Flint shocked the nation. Jackson must haunt this nation. We need cultural bombardment, like flooding the social media ranges with art, poetry, short films, dropping cultural media during Juneteenth, June 4th, DNC, GOP conventions, all that. Because Jackson isn't failing. It's being abandoned. And we need the nation to feel its silence echoing back. You know, and I'm going to tell y'all what doesn't work, just so we can get all these little stupid attempts out the way, right? And these are lessons directly from Flint and Baltimore's cases. Relying on mayors without movement support? Nope. Nope, none of that. Trusting federal letters to stop corporate moves? Nope, never worked. Never worked. They'll scoff. I'll scoff at you. It never works. Suing without public demonstration strategy or a public documentation strategy. That's not going to work. You cannot sue without a public documentation strategy. We need a way to keep everything cohesive so they can't hide everything. Coherence is key here. This is a narrative battle. It's not on the streets. But also focusing only on the water while schools and housing collapses, that's not going to be enough to resolve the situation. They are trying to forget about Jackson. I need you to know that. Don't forget about Jackson. Jackson is a place where people live, not where water is used. They are trying to politicize the city so that way you can forget about all of that, but also waiting for media cycles to care longer than 3 days. CNN will post one headline, and that's all we got. Right? So we're going to have to move a little further than this if you want actual solutions. People don't understand. If they want us to die quietly, then we survive loudly. That's the method. The greatest weapon what we have now is that we remember what they did to Flint. We remember what didn't work. And we remember how to fight better. This is not about water. It's about memory. And it's about never letting the next city drown in that same silence.